Hey everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my Disney Cruise Line series. And today we're going to be talking about the food, and specifically the food on the Disney Dream. I just got back from a 4-night solo cruise. I ate in the dining room every night, had a fabulous time. And I'm going to talk to you about the different places I ate, the venues that are on the Disney Dream, and then also about some changes that they've made due to COVID protocols. And I'm really glad that you're here. So for those of you that are returning, thank you so much for all your kind words about this series. It has been so fun for me to film kind of in this new format, which wasn't just a typical trip vlog. I knew that a lot of you would have a lot of very specific questions, and I felt like I could answer those better doing these videos this way rather than just a normal trip vlog. So I will intersperse footage of my time on the Dream as I'm talking. I will tell you that I had fantastic dining experiences. The food was good. I personally don't feel that the food on Disney Cruise Line is spectacular. I've actually never felt that way, especially having sailed on some other cruise lines like Viking that kind of specialize in gourmet food, but the food is still very good. But what really pushes it over the top are the servers and the service. So more on that in just a minute, but let's talk first, because I know some of you are probably watching for this reason, about safety protocols right now on Disney Cruise Line. So the biggest changes that I saw in terms of dining were, number one, the buffet at Cabanas, which in the past you would get your own plate, you would serve yourself for most things. Some things they would serve you. Now they serve you all the time and you never get your own plate. They get your plate, you tell them what you want. Don't worry about portions. You can get still as many of everything as you want. Even as far as fruit and all of that, it is all behind glass. They would not even let you take like oranges or apples from a bowl as they had in the past. You actually had to ask a cast member and they would get it for you. Now, personally, this is what we had experienced on Viking Sea. I really like it this way. I feel like it's much more sanitary. And again, as I've said before in this series, there's a lot more you can get on a cruise ship other than just COVID. So it was really great to have those protocols set up. And Disney, I hope you're listening. I hope you continue to do that because that was awesome. The servers in the dining rooms did wear masks the entire time. There was one exception. If they were stationary and posing for a photo, they were allowed to remove their masks. Insert photo of my servers here. Ta-da! These two, oh my gosh, they were the best. Absolutely loved them. And we just really got to know each other. And especially because I was a solo traveler, they would always greet me at the door. They were so kind. They were so gracious. Now, that was another change. Normally, you either have a 6:30 dining time or an 8:30 dining time. But due to COVID, they were staggering your arrival time in the dining room, obviously because they didn't want a bottleneck. That was one thing they really worked hard to always avoid. So my dining time was actually 8:25. And I never waited. I would just walk right in and they would seat me at the table and it just felt very personal. I kind of felt like every night, like I was in, Be Our Guest, because they would be like, Miss Jennifer, come this way. We have your table ready. It's just fabulous. Fabulous. So other than that, I'm trying to think, there weren't really any other major changes. You were required, of course, to wear your mask as you came into the dining room. You were required to put your mask on when you went to the ladies' room or the men's room. And then, of course, required to put your mask on when you left the restaurant. But as soon as you were seated at your table, you were welcome to take your mask off. And I just felt like the dining felt like it's always felt on Disney Cruise Line. So the different venues that I experienced were Animator's Palette, Enchanted Garden, Royal Palace, Cookies 2, which is out on Castaway Cay, and I also ate at Cabanas, and I had room service, as well as I did order a coffee a couple times at the Vista Cafe and a couple of other small venues. Now, all of the food is like I said, good. People who are true gourmets probably want to try to snag a reservation at Remy or Palo. I did not do either one of those this trip. One reason is I was by myself, and that would have felt a little awkward since it's such a long, drawn out dining experience. But also, I have not heard great things since Disney Cruise Line came back online after COVID, just because of some of the things they've had to change. So I'm not sure it's the best value right now, but if you're looking for gourmet food on the Disney ships, that is where you want to find it. In the past, I have done Palo for brunch, and I've also they did a high tea at Palo years ago that my mom and I did, and that was a fabulous experience. I don't think they're doing that anymore, but yeah, those are really your gourmet experiences. The food that I got in the dining room, again, although good, was nothing that I would say was particularly gourmet. Okay, so I have the lovely pasta. I got this the first time I sailed on the Disney Dream, and it's just the yummiest. So it's free, but you do want to give a tip. So I have got grilled cheese and fries and some coleslaw and some fruit. This is some truffle pasta magnificent thing. This dipping sauce for the bread, oh my gosh. I will say one thing to note is you can always ask for something to be more simply prepared. I don't eat a lot of sauces and things here at home, and a couple days of cruising, less so on a 4-night cruise, certainly more on a 7 or even a 10-night cruise. You can ask them for things to be simply prepared, and they also on every menu now have a whole section where I think it's even called that, like simply prepared, where you can ask for just a piece of grilled salmon and a baked potato and a salad, and they are more than happy to accommodate that. You could also always ask for multiple entrees, multiple desserts. Can't decide on an appetizer, you can order 3 or 4. No one even bats an eye. It is actually encouraged for you to try different items on the menu. This can be a great opportunity for your kids to maybe try escargot for the first time. That's where my kids had escargot for the first time, and probably the last time. But it is a fun place to do a little bit more adventuring, especially for kids. But again, not everybody likes that kind of cooking, and so you can always ask for things to be more simply prepared. Now, one thing of note is when you first get on the ship, you don't have to eat at cabanas. A lot of people do. I prefer to go to whatever sit-down restaurant they are offering lunch. Now, when we first sailed, I didn't even know they did this, but pretty much every day, there of course will be exceptions, they offer breakfast and usually lunch at one, if not more, sit-down restaurants. I kind of thought, oh, well, if it's not my assigned dinner time, then it must be cabanas or nothing, and that was not at all the case. There are also other little counter service venues. There is, I believe it's Tomatoes Grill is there. There is Vanellope's, which is an ice cream shop. There is Luigi's Pizza is there, and those are both on Luigi's Pizza and Tomatoes are on deck 11. Oh, and actually Vanellope's is on deck 11 as well. I didn't do Vanellope's this time because lactose intolerant, but if y'all watched my Disney Dream trip I did with my husband, he is all about the ice cream, and I think that man lived at Vanellope's. That was his favorite spot on the ship. So that was really awesome. Also, as I said, I experienced room service, and I gotta tell you, there is no extra charge for room service. However, you do want to tip the person that brings it. Now, for a while there, when they first started sailing, I had heard that they were not allowing them to accept cash for tips. They now are, and you want to make sure you have some cash on hand. As I've said in earlier videos, because they're only half full, because everybody was out of work for so long, I basically tipped double my entire cruise. I'm not saying you have to do that. It's just the fact that the ship was only half full is not their fault, and that's a lot of their income. So I was very happy to be able to do that. So I tipped very well. But one day for room service, I just literally ordered grilled cheese and fries. It was amazing. Do note, if you order a soda from room service, and this is kind of odd, if you go up and you get a soda from either Cabanas or from the drink station, which I think I've mentioned this already, but they do fill your mug for you. Like I had this mug with me and I would just set it down on the table. They would fill it all the way to the top for me with whatever soda that I wanted. And there's, again, you can do that at Cabanas or also at the drink stations when Cabanas isn't open. But if you get a soda from room service, they charge you for it. So just be aware of that. It might be worth, making a trip, in my case, up just one deck. By the way, if you didn't watch my cabin tour and unpacking, make sure you do that. Loved being only one floor away from deck 11. It was fantastic. So yeah, don't do that. But then the other time that I did room service, I did cheese and wine, and they brought this beautiful plate with all kinds of cheeses and crackers and a glass of wine for me. And that was the day that I read a whole book in a day with the veranda open. That was our day at sea. Oh my gosh. So it's kind of funny because I ate dinner in the dining room every night, loved my servers, loved like that. It felt like I was eating with friends and family. So fantastic. But probably my most memorable meal was the cheese and wine that I had out on the veranda while reading a book. That was a real way to go. So yeah, the food, again, on the Disney cruise ships, it's not that it's not good. Don't hear me say that the food is bad. It's just that it's nothing to write home about. And keep in mind, they are serving a very large ship with a lot of people. I will say they could get a little more creative with the menu. I feel like Disney Cruise Line has had the same menu for like 10 years, and I'm kind of not kidding. I've sailed enough to kind of start to know the menu. For instance, there's a pasta, which don't take this off the menu, but there's a pasta that they always serve the first day on the Disney Dream at Animator's Palette, which is where I ate. And I happen to love it. I actually happen to think about it. It's probably the only dish I've ever had on Disney Cruise Line that I think about. And I got it. And I was kind of like, I had this for the first time 9 years ago. But it was good then and it's good now. So it's not like we have to change things. It's just, mixing it up wouldn't be the worst thing ever. So overall food, I'm going to give the food an 8 out of 10. Although I don't know that I've done any number grading this whole time. But what the hey, it's my channel. Let's all of a sudden do number grading for things. Because it is good. The service, however, I will give 15 out of 10. They are attentive. They are kind. They are considerate. And actually quite lovely. And every time we've sailed, I've kind of gotten to know our servers a little bit about where they're from and their families. And yeah, it's just a lovely experience and one that I hope you get to take advantage of very soon. All right, so you should book a Disney cruise. It's a lot of fun. The COVID protocols did not get in the way of our good time. I felt very safe. Everyone was very fastidious about making sure we washed our hands and we used hand sanitizer every time we came into the restaurants. And it was a very, very good experience. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. That really goes a long way for me and the algorithm. And whatever you're doing today, I hope you're being really good to each other. Next week, we're going to talk about sailing solo on the Disney Dream. What was it like? What did I do? And would I do it again? And I can't wait to see you soon. Bye.